Good morning, everyone. Sorry, my voice is a little crackly. How are you? It's Monday. Let me say hi to you guys. Good morning, Gretchen. Good morning, preschool granny, Jenny, the boss lady, pointer lover, Kelly, TK, Margie. Good morning. Get me a snack, Chick Tracy. Wow, it's been a minute. Long time no see, babe. Call me Sadie, Music City Mom, Chicken Lady. Hello. Good to see everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Sophie. Good morning, Lisa. It's nice to see everybody. I hope you all had a great weekend. Mine was fantastic. I had my little granddaughter's birthday party was Saturday. I had fun. And it was busy, but court is now in session. Oh, I see. Oh, boy. Megan has decided, I guess she's going to paint it black this week. That's her outfit of the day. And she still has not been able to locate the shampoo or a brush. So fantastic. Love that for you, Megan. Yeah. So today we're going to start the session with the same detective that was on the stand Saturday. I believe his name is Dan Gatz. He is a TBI agent. However, he is currently an attorney in private practice. And let me just say this. I really appreciate you guys all being here because I know there are a ton of channels that are streaming this trial, and you guys could choose anywhere to be, but you're choosing to be with me, and I appreciate that so very much. I would just ask one little tiny favor. It's free. It takes no time at all. If you would please do me a favor and give your girl either a thumbs up, a thumbs down, whichever way you feel. I shan't be judging, but I would appreciate the interaction. Thank you very, very much. All right. They have entered the courtroom. The witness is back on the stand. I have unmuted. I'm not exactly sure why there appears to be no audio. The volume is up. Hold on a minute here. What's going on, Court TV? Let's get this show on the road. Ugh, bruh. Hang on. Why is it doing this? Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me see what's going on here. Let me refresh the screen and see. Yeah, there's no sound, so I'm not going to use, I don't have time for this baloney. Hold on a minute. I don't want to get us behind and, yeah, it's a Court TV issue. Give me just a sec. We'll just rewind a little bit. Let me go over to, I like to either do Court TV or Law and Crime. I was going to do the local news. They're streaming it as well. However, all right, Court TV's got it. However, they don't have closed captions, and I like the closed captions. Not they don't always get it right, but at the end of the day, even when they don't get it right, it's kind of funny if they don't get it right. So let me rewind it just a tiny bit because I don't want us to miss any testimony. But even if they don't get it right, they're at least humorous. So here we go. Skip ahead a little. Skip ahead.
Yes, we did.
And did you also go through the trash bags and those contents?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And without telling me what it is, did you find items that were considered relevant?
Yes, we did.
Okay. What do you do? What does law enforcement do when they find items that they consider relevant to an investigation?
We go through them systematically. We photograph them, number them, identify them by name, place them into, depending on what the item is, some type of evidentiary container, whether it's a bag, a box, something of that sort, seal it up, and then determine what are we going to do with that piece. Are we going to place it in evidence? Are we going to send it to the lab? What are we going to do next?
Okay, and was that done with items in this case?
Yes.
I appreciate that, Kelly. I'm pretty sarcastic. I'm quite fluent in that. In fact, that is my first language. My second language is English, and my third language
And before we get into the
English.
actual evidence itself, was a determination made to send some of those items to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation lab for analysis?
Yes, we determined to send some things to the lab.
Okay. If I could have item number, 88. Gonna ask that you, again, put gloves on before we...
Put yourself between this and the jury. Put it on that side.
I've got a knife. Thank you.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, if you could just carefully open that item that's been passed to you.
Would you like me to take it out of the bag?
No, at this point, can you tell me what it is? Do you recognize it?
Yes, I recognize it.
What is it?
It is the trash can that was recovered at Muddy Creek.
Okay, and I'm asking you to speak a little bit closer into that microphone so we can catch it for the court reporter.
You want me to answer again?
Yeah, if you can answer again.
This is the trash can we found that night at Muddy Creek.
Okay, and is that the actual trash can that was found that night?
Yes.
Okay. We'd ask that be made exhibit number 196.
Any objections? No. Before we get 196.
Permission to publish to the jury, Your Honor. Agent Gratz, I'm going to let you now take it out and show the jury.
I just need to pause here for a moment. MK Lynn, good morning. But also, I missed it last night. Thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate that. Thank you for supporting me in the channel. You are a swell guy and a good neighbor. You are a scholar and a gentleman, MK Lynn, and I appreciate it. I'm so sorry I missed it last night.
And if you can, try to, while you're displaying that to the jury, continue to display it, but try to also speak into the microphone so we can hear. There appears to be black residue on that trash can. Can you tell the jury what that's from?
Thank you. Yes, this trash can has gone under what I would say a significant analysis at this point. This black residue is going to be from the lab in Nashville placing dust on it in order to identify any fingerprints. Further, if I can set it down, if you can take a look around the rim and see how it looks irregular, that's not the way it looked that night.
When you say irregular, are you talking about the notches that are cut out?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and you can see, there's tool marks where the lid of the trash can has been removed.
Okay, and so that is not how it looked when you took it into evidence that night?
Correct.
Okay. Are you aware of who took that off?
Yes.
Who took that off?
David Hoover at the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Lab in Nashville. He's a forensic scientist special agent.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're done with that exhibit, and I'm going to pass you.
I would suspect now in the opening statements, Miss Massengill said that the kitchen trash can came from Megan Boswell's kitchen. I would imagine that's why it went under so much scrutiny and testing so that they could determine exactly who had access, whose trash can that was. I'm really, really, curious to see these lab analysis results.
Recognize it?
Aw, MK, thank you. I know you don't care. You're super chill that way, but I just, new year, new me. I'm going to try to have manners and couth. I can't say it's going to last all the year. We're already into February, so I'm trying my best. All right, Kristen, I get it. Good morning. Let me see who's all joined us. Rachel, Jeanette, thank you.
Do you recognize that
Linda,
item?
welcome,
Yes, I recognize
welcome.
this.
Okay, and
Kristen.
what is it?
This was a piece of gum that was removed from the inside of the trash can that I just showed you.
Okay. And was that also taken into evidence?
Yes, this was processed into evidence that night.
Okay, we asked that be made exhibit number 197, please.
197.
And permission to publish, Your Honor. May I please see exhibit number 18? Okay. I'm going to show you a photograph that's already been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 18. I'm going to try to zoom in for you.
I would also suspect that this is how
Okay.
they narrowed it down to that it came from Megan's kitchen, and B, I would suspect this is how they potentially narrowed it down to Hunter not being involved, at least with this portion of it. I'm going to leave it there because you guys know exactly what I'm referring to. I would imagine that you'll notice that gum was not in a trash bag. It was outside of the trash bag. So, and stuck to the side of the trash can. I would imagine when they put the crime lab analyst on the stand, that person is going to testify that the fingerprints and the gum belong to Megan Boswell.
Okay. Do you see, and I know that's not the best zooming in, can you show the jury what you were just referencing for the exhibit we just entered?
This is the trash can that was inside the playhouse,
Okay.
and this is the piece of gum that we removed.
Okay. to the next. Okay, do you have that one open?
Yes, I have it
Okay,
open.
and are you able to recognize what that is?
Yes, I am.
Okay, what is it?
This is a black trash bag that was recovered from the trash can that night.
Okay. And was that also taken into custody and sent to the TBI lab for analysis?
Yes, this was.
Okay, if we could ask that be made exhibit number 198, please. Can I have number 18 one more time, sorry. Permission to publish to the jury, Your Honor. You could just take it out and you may want to stand up and show it to the jury so everyone can see it.
We have an important coffee-related question regarding this Love is Blind creamer. If anybody knows the answer, please help our friend TK in Texas out. Coffee creamer is serious business over here at the ward.
And can you explain to the jury why parts have been removed from the bag that you're holding? I believe you're holding up part of that.
Yes, I am. Again, similar to the trash can, this has gone or undergone significant forensic testing. You can see the powder of the residue that would have been done at the Nashville lab. There is insect debris that we found in or on this trash bag. And this is a cutout that was done at the Nashville lab.
Okay. And where was that trash bag found?
Inside of the trash can at Muddy Creek.
Okay. You can go ahead and try to put it back in, and then I'm going to show you the same exhibit number 18. Okay. Okay. Are you okay? Are you making it? Okay. Your Honor, the defense wants us to make, and we are not opposed to this, making the insect debris its own exhibit. 199, okay. back to exhibit number, what's been previously marked as exhibit 18. Can you tell us, is that the black trash bag that you were just referencing?
Yes, that's correct. That's the bag.
Sorry, I don't think I'll need that again. Okay, sorry. Do you have that open?
Yes, it's open.
Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
This is a Dasani water bottle.
Okay. Where was that located?
It was with the trash that we located that night at Muddy Creek.
Okay. And did you also take that into evidence?
Yes.
And was that item sent to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Crime Lab for analysis?
Yes, it was.
We'd ask that be made exhibit number 200.
Any objections? We approve.
All right, apparently Mr. Scott is already wanting snacks and he's decided to approach. So we shall be waiting for whatever his beef is. Just on the topic of coffee creamer, I like the Italian sweet cream. That's my favorite.
Okay, to clarify, where was that water bottle found?
I don't remember if this was found in the trash can or in the bags that were with the trash can.
Okay. Just 1 minute. All right, Your Honor, at this time, I think we're going to ask that be made exhibit 200 for ID only. Good with that? We did ID.
Okay, so I would imagine that because he doesn't know exactly where that was found, that's why they're having it for identification purposes only, just that it was found. And they will likely have another agent hopefully
could
be
pass
able
that
to
to
say
the
where it
clerk,
came from
please.
exactly.
What's the next? One of them.
Good morning, Sarah. Your tardy is excused, just so you know. However, I'm going to note it in your file, and I'm going to keep an eye on you. Please don't continue to be tardy. Here at the ward, we do send out truancy officers. Just letting you know. Just kidding. Can you imagine if I was like that, though? Can you imagine how hypocritical it would be of me who ditched school only showed up 3, maybe 4 times a week for the full day. What a hypocrite. Yeah, I can hear him in the background. Mr. Scott, you're loud. You're mad that you're not going to let it in until there's a witness that establishes the foundation of exactly where that freaking water bottle exactly was located. Was it on the outside of the trash bag? Was it on the inside of the trash bag? We get it. It's fine. Okay, now I'm an odd duck with the whole, hey, Kentucky Leah, or Kentucky Lee, I'm an odd duck. I don't actually like the sweet, okay, but I do have some type of issues. I need to be able to put the spoon in the sugar bowl 3 times, okay? So it's not like I use like 3 full scoops of sugar, but I need to put the spoon in the sugar 3 times. I think if I were to actually measure it out, it would actually be like 1 little, 1 teaspoon, like 1 small spoon. I have issues. Who am I kidding? I don't have just issues. I have the entire subscription.
Okay. You got that open?
Yes.
Okay. Are you able to identify what it is?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What is it?
In this bag here, it has sheets of aluminum foil. It
Okay.
has some sheets that are by themselves, and there's a box where I had placed some sheets inside this box at a later time.
Okay. And where was that aluminum foil recovered?
It was inside the trash can around the victim's head.
Okay. Your Honor, we'd ask that, well, and was that taken into custody by law enforcement?
Yes.
Okay. And was that sent to the TBI crime lab for analysis?
Yes.
We'd ask that be made exhibit number 201.
Before we get to, now, there's a bag and box.
Mm-hmm.
Are you separating them, or are you collected?
Agent Gratz, can you specify why the foil is in a bag and a box?
So there's the brown paper bag. It's inside this. There are sheets of foil.
In the bag?
Yes.
Is there anything else inside the box?
As far as I know, it's not been opened. I can open it up and look. Would you like me to do that now?
Yes.
Yes, there is something inside this box.
Okay, so that bag, let me clarify, that bag was not inside the box? The bag of aluminum foil? I passed you a box,
Yes,
okay? You opened it, what was inside the box?
there are sheets of aluminum foil in here,
Okay.
in addition to this box.
Oh, that's a separate box, I see.
Yes.
Okay, so for now, we just ask that the aluminum foil be made exhibit number 201, that was inside the bigger box.
Okay, listen.
The aluminum foil.
Look, she wants the aluminum foil. let me tell you what y'all she did here, okay? Bless her little heart. And she sounds like she's a little bit sick. I saw her blowing her nose on Saturday. She might be a little under the weather and not all the way there. And I'm not going to fault her for that. What she handed him was a bag and a box. The bag has the aluminum foil. I don't know what the heck's in the box. They haven't opened it yet.
That.
You totally should, Music City. The Tennessee I can't even talk. The Tennessee Forensic Crime Lab is right down the road from me. I think I should go work there. That sounds like a fantastic idea. I would do it. And I hope, Boho Hobo, I hope you feel better, babe. Thanks for being here. Why is he handling the bag without the gloves? Because the bags can be handled without the gloves.
Okay,
Only
before
the
we get to
inside
the
cannot.
small white box, can we have permission to publish exhibit number 2?
So when they collect the evidence, the evidence itself is placed into these brown paper bags. Many people handle the brown paper bags. The bags themselves are evidence in a way, but they're not sent for testing. They're only evidence in that they are sealed and labeled and signed off on, if that makes sense. All right, here we go.
201. Thank you. So you may need to stand. I'd just like the jury to see, for you to show them exhibit number 201, please.
Would you like me to unfold these pieces?
Yes, please.
Now, I need to be watching a little bit more carefully because, truth be told, when he handles different pieces of evidence, he definitely should be changing his glove.
Agent Gratz, was it flat and folded like that when you removed the item from the victim?
No, if you can remember from the photographs, part of this was formed around Evelyn's head, and part of this was sort of still stretched out. At a later day, we pulled it all out to do the measurements in the photographs that you also saw on Saturday. And then I folded it back up for evidentiary processing purposes.
Okay. You're going to be like the record reflect. He's showing a second piece of foil at this time.
All within that same time.
Yes. And we'd ask the record reflect. He's showing a third piece of foil.
These are various pieces that are essentially caked together.
Okay. We asked the record reflect. He's showing the jury smaller pieces of foil.
This is another piece that's wadded up with material.
You'll have to speak up for the microphone. Sorry.
This is another piece that's wadded up that has some material on it.
Material. What do you mean?
This is going to be a combination of human decomposition as well as trash that was in the trash can.
All right, now this might actually be a valid objection and not an attempt at the charcuterie / crudité tray that they obviously have up there. Otherwise, what's the point of making all these objections? He is not the one that performed the testing on the items that he's holding, i.e. the foil. So that testimony has to come in
We'd ask the record to reflect he was holding up another smaller wadded.
that testimony has to come in from whichever person at the TBI crime lab that performed the tests and got the results.
That piece of foil.
This is another small piece of foil. These are boxes that contain hair that was found on the floor.
Agent Gratz, what you just showed the jury, you said that was taken from with the foil.
Yes.
Okay, and that was taken into evidence.
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, we'd ask that be made exhibit number 202. What is it?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
These are
Don't show it to the jury yet, please.
evidentiary containers that have been sealed up. Each individually is labeled hair from foil.
Okay.
What's the letter? Will be collected.
Okay. If I could have exhibit 201 passed back to the clerk. Are you able to grab that white box?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask that you open it and see if you're, without showing it to the jury, and see if you can identify what is inside.
Yes, I can identify this.
Okay. What is it?
Is another piece of aluminum foil.
Okay. How many pieces of aluminum foil?
This is one piece.
Okay.
If I open it up, it may break apart.
Right.
Because it was sort of fragile or not a solid sheet by
Okay.
the way we recovered it.
Okay.
But it is one sheet.
Okay. And where was that recovered from?
This was around the head of the victim, Evelyn, inside of the trash can recovered at Muddy Creek.
Okay. And are there markings on that foil that were not performed by law enforcement?
There are markings on here that would have been done at the lab.
Okay, so that was sent to the TBI lab for analysis?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, we'd ask that be made exhibit number 203.
No objection. Full exhibit 203.
Thank you.
Your Honor, permission to publish? All right, thank you.
Hey, Allie, good to see you, babe. Good morning, everyone. If I've missed you, it's on accident. I'm sorry. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it so very much. On the stand is Dan Gratz. He was at the time of the investigation an agent
Have
with
you,
the TBI.
if you could open that next box that's been passed to you.
And you know, Patricia,
Okay, I have it open.
Okay, are you able to identify that?
I think you're right. He does look like he wants to retch, and I'll tell you why. Because along with the agent who testified, Agent Fraley, on the first day, this is the second agent from the TBI that was out at the Boswell property and ended up at the playhouse and ended up recovering Evelyn's little body. And he was in charge of, along with Agent Fraley, they documented the scene. And they were under the direction of the medical examiner, removing each layer of foil and blankets and et cetera that were found around Evelyn Boswell. So I would imagine this is bringing back some of those unfortunate memories.
That?
I'll have to look further inside this bag.
Okay.
Yes, I can
Okay.
identify this.
Okay. You said yes, you can?
Yes.
Okay, what is it?
This is the outfit that the victim was wearing that night
Okay,
when she was recovered.
okay. And is there anything else other than the outfit?
I've made one fold over and there's some insect debris inside the bag.
Okay.
That appears to be everything.
Okay. One moment. May I approach the witness briefly? Let me make sure. Is it in a plastic bag? Okay. Okay. It's not in a plastic bag. May we approach?
I don't know how they're going to show this to the jury. What they're discussing is her little footy PJs, and her footed PJs have insect debris on them, and I don't know how they're going to be able to display that to the jury without and be able to keep it exactly as it was when it was placed in that bag, which is when trials happen. That's what they're trying to do, because this evidence has to be kept and it has to be stored in the event of should she be convicted, which she should be convicted, but she's likely going to appeal, and so in that event they need to continue to hold on and maintain the evidence exactly as it was collected. And it's heartbreaking. Just heartbreaking. I cannot believe I said Logan yesterday. I would love to know where my brain came up with Logan. I really would. Call me Sadie. When you do locate the donuts, is there a jelly-filled donut in there or a plain cake donut? Because those two
Don't remember
are
what
my
all I've asked you
favorite.
on that yet. Did you state where that was found?
Yes, this was found inside the trash can that night at Muddy Creek.
Okay, and did I ask you what it was?
I'm not sure at this
Okay,
point.
what is it?
This is like a fleece onesie.
Okay, and where was it found inside the trash can?
It was on the body of the victim.
Okay, we'd ask that be made exhibit number 204. Well, I'm sorry, we're going to ask for permission to publish it. Be very careful. Try to leave it maybe on the butcher paper if you can.
And now, ma'am, this man had to put that back in there, and here we are. You're asking to take it out. Brace yourselves, y'all. Thank you. I'm so glad that there is plain cake. I do think that fruit belongs in donuts because in the form of delicious jelly. So, you know, oh my God.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Do you want me to fold it back up?
Yes, please.
That's sweet, baby.
And try to maybe seal it back up into the box if you can, the best that you can after we fold it back up. Okay, let me pass you another item. Okay, are you able to identify what is in that box?
There are several bags. Would you like me to go individually through each bag and open them?
1 minute. Do you see the bag that may contain a blanket?
Yes.
Okay, could you look at that bag, please?
I'm going to go ahead and
Yes,
Hold
open
it.
it and see if you can identify what it is.
I have it partially open and I can identify it.
Okay, what is it?
It is a fleece blanket.
Okay, any other descriptive things that you can reference about that blanket? What does it look like?
So it's gray and white and has a like a running pattern through it.
Okay, and do you know where that was located?
Yes, this was inside the trash can.
Okay, and where was it located inside the trash can?
It was around the victim.
Okay, we'd ask that be made exhibit number 205.
No objection. Full exhibit 205.
Am I taking this out or putting it back in?
Just one moment. Permission to publish, Your Honor?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, if you could, just show that to the jury, again, with the same thoughts to try to be as careful as you can.
send this back.
Is there anything else? Ed?
Take about 15.
You want to stand, please?
All right, they're going to take a break. I just can't. I'm sorry, y'all. That I don't really have words because, I mean, I do. I don't want to use them right now. I saw the condition of the blanket, and quite honestly, you can, in my opinion anyway, when he was holding it up, there's some bunched parts, some like little tiny folds, some, that are covered in biological material. And I'm going to leave it there, but that's what was wrapped around her little face. And you can kind of still see it. And yet, Megan, once again, I didn't hear any audible crying. I know that the court camera operator is being very, very careful not to zoom in at a specific angle because A, they're not supposed to show the computers on either side's desk, and B, Megan does have the right to attorney-client privilege, and so she's turned and she's speaking to her attorney. They don't want that zoomed in on either. I didn't hear anything there wasn't like an audible cry or anything like that. And I'm going to say at this point, regardless, I don't, frankly, even if I did hear an audible cry, I would likely not believe it. To me, and this is just my opinion, the only person that Megan Boswell is crying for is Megan Boswell. Hey, humanimal. I know it's hard, babe. It's hard. It's hard. It's really hard. It was hard for me to say, it's hard to know what really is going on in anybody's head, obviously, but I just think that, from watching her interrogation interviews, and granted, we're not getting the full interrogation interview. Different prosecutors do it differently. Some prosecutors play the interrogation tape in its video, I should say, in its entirety. I suspect because Megan was interviewed so many times, if they were to play her interrogation videos in their entirety, I believe that it would take probably a full day, which would be 8 hours, and potentially more. I mean, not a full day is they work from about 9 to 5, which is 8 hours. They take, usually, barring any other kerfuffle, right? They take 2 15-minute breaks, which is 30 minutes, and then they take an hour lunch. So 8 hours. I always want to say that like French, like SpongeBob. 8 hours. One shift at the Krusty Krab leaf tail. Minus an hour and a half, which would be what? 1 is 7, 6.5 hours. I imagine that it would take one full day and probably half of another, like 4 hours of another. She was interviewed multiple times. There's something really, I think it goes without saying that there's something wrong with Megan Boswell, okay? I mean, there's something wrong with anybody who can take the life of anybody else and extra wrong when it's a child and extra, extra, extra wrong when it's your own child, right? I think we can all agree something ain't right. The milk ain't clean. All right. But I'd like to know specifically what it is that's going on with her. It's not going to explain anything. It's not going to excuse nothing excuses this. Nothing. But I just, for my own um, knowledge, I'd like to know exactly what if anything, that she has been diagnosed with. Um, I think that Danny. Yes. Okay. So here's the deal. I'd have to look into how Tennessee does this, because there are states that, um, okay, so after a trial, you can, and by you, I mean, us all, you can, human beings, people, individuals can make a request of whoever the custody, because the custodian is of the evidence. Usually it's probably going to be the Sullivan Sheriff's Department. Okay. Sullivan County Sheriff's Department. So what you do is you submit a FOIA request, and it's not going to be free. Interrogation videos are usually quite pricey, but you pay, and they will give you the interrogation videos. But there are some states who, when Missouri is one of them, when a defendant is going through the appeals process, there's quite a bit of evidence that remains sealed. I don't think that they would seal um, the interrogation videos, only because portions of them are already out and have been played in open court, and the trial was streamed. So I would think that, yes, those would be available. I can always do a request and find out the cost, if that is something that you guys, I'm interested in hearing it. I want to know. I would like to get them in chronological order, because I would like to hear in chronological order exactly when the story changed and what made it change. Because I suspect that Megan, similar to Letitia, changed stories after a suggestion. And I think that is through no fault of the cops, right? I don't think I actually think that, to me, is not indicative of them trying to coerce a confession out of her. It is like, there's sort of a little bit of like law enforcement tactics that come with raising not so children, but mainly teenagers, okay? Because teenagers can be very secretive little beasts. And when they don't want to get caught, they're going to do what they have to do, which is mainly lie. That's their first line of defense. And so there is a bit of interrogation technique required when you're asking your teenager stuff. Sometimes even just regular day conversations require a bit of interrogation tactics. So anyway, I think that they do that to see if they give her a suggestion, if she will change her story. And she did. I think it's like a test, and it's really sad that, she is just I just don't know how anybody makes it through life like that with nobody like confronting them. And I kind of wonder if maybe they don't confront. Maybe Megan is similar to Letitia in that it's almost like not worth the confrontation, because she's not gonna admit anything. And then remember when Al finally did confront Letitia on her lies, how she screamed and the volume of her voice was like so high that, and the octave of her voice was so high that she, like the phone cut out because the speaker, she had him on speakerphone in those pretext calls, and that phone was like, "Bruh, I'm out. I quit. I can't with her. Uh, I just cannot do it." And I wonder if that's why, um, maybe she is like that as well. I'm not sure. I know there were points during the, some of the interrogation videos that we watched, the parts of them, that, it seemed like, when she would get to crying, and again, for herself, not for her child, I just think it was a full-on display, quite honestly. I feel like, I feel like, her voice went up several 11 billion octaves. So, there's that, it's hmm. Y I agree with this, Patricia. I do. I think Megan is very, very impulsive and will say and do, and make decisions based on the now, based on an immediate want. And believe me, they're not needs, they're an immediate want. She's highly, highly immature. And I will say this, you know, there is something to be said in that respect. They've done studies, the frontal lobe, which is what is controls many things, but among them is your impulse control, isn't fully developed until, generally, not everybody, some people are earlier, some people are later. I mean, every human is individual, but it's not developed fully until a person is around 25 years old. That being said, okay, there are other parts of of your brain that are in charge of things. And it is there are so many young mothers. Women have been having children young for a millennial, okay? And there's tons of young mothers, and they don't unalive their children, okay? Period, the end. There's something fundamentally broken with this chick, okay? Because at that part of it, I don't her actions, um, as far as being not calling the cops, her actions of lying, that's not wholly. I'm not going to say, oh well, that she's young. No, 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 no. That's her. Okay. Um, but her impulse control, which is what would control her decision making, and, that part of it, there's science to suggest that that part of your brain is that not to only suggest, says that that part of their brain is not fully developed. What's interesting to me is that, um, Megan, in with respect to Hunter, is saying one thing, but doing another. Right? So when we listen to, the text messages, private messages from social media being read, she is saying in or writing in those messages that she's not sure about Hunter and essentially she could take him or leave him, right? However, and I'm glad to know now, which I wish I would have known when the presentation of the DMs began, that these are not the entirety of these conversations. These are just highlighted portions, essentially. But so obviously they're going to show the parts where she's talking about Hunter. Now, I would be curious to read these, text messages in their entirety, in their full context, to see if she's the one bringing up Hunter, how that all played out. But my point is, um, even in her interrogation videos, right? She's distancing herself from Hunter almost immediately and casting, some doubt and sort of trying to steer the investigation towards him. Essentially, she tried to steer the investigation away from anybody other than herself, right? But she says little things, yet what you're saying to me is that, or you're saying to everybody really, is that you weren't sure about Hunter. You had your doubts about Hunter. He might not be that great of a person, but he's not that bad of a person. And she also uses the phrase, you know what I'm saying, a lot. No, we don't. This is the first time we've met you. So no, we don't know what you're saying. Please explain. It's very Letitia-esque and it's annoying. I think probably under other circumstances it probably wouldn't be as annoying to me, but because of Letitia, now it's extremely like it just hits my ears so bad and so wrong. Anyway, but yet she's running all over Hell's Half Acre with Hunter, right? Um, she wasn't kicked out of her trailer. She wasn't kicked out of their home when she lived with her father and then moved to the trailer. Parents have to put their feet down sometimes, you know, and there's nothing in my mind that shows or tells me that if Megan needed help, her father wouldn't have been there for her. Her grandmother wouldn't have been there for her. Other people, she had a support system. Okay. She wasn't solely on her own. Yes, Letitia's ruined yada, yada, yada for me. I don't appreciate that. I mean, I loved the show Seinfeld. And the fact that, Tisha Lynn, you've ruined yada yada for me and probably scores of other people. I mean, just add that onto the pile of things we don't like about Letitia. The book of Why Letitia Sucks by Jen Liu. Okay. Like she's just the worst. Um, hold on a second. Hey, Harley Quinn. Good to see you. Where did that comment go? Queen Bella. Good morning, Queen Bella. Good morning, Marjorie. Queen Bella says, I think she was still wanting to be with Ethan. She used Hunter to possibly make him jealous. I am curious about that. She was with Ethan for quite some time, 3 or 4 years. It's interesting to me. One of Megan's personality traits, I suppose you could call it, is that she is very, very cavalier and nonchalant about emotions. Okay. For example, when she's talking about the fact that Ethan was not in Evelyn's life. He didn't help her financially and he didn't help her physically, he didn't help her emotionally. He was not, although we know now he was not the biological father. He is not the biological father. But at the time, okay, she's very cavalier in the way that she talks about that. And I suspect that the things that bother Megan the most and are the most intense emotions, she works very hard at outwardly downplaying them. The way that she said, I mean, come on, like I've had her for a year by myself. He hasn't over a year. Okay, let's be realistic here, Megan. 13 months, while technically over a year, you need to stop that. There are many, many mothers and fathers who take care of their children 25/8 for the entirety of their lives. In the scheme of things, a year is a drop in the bucket of a child's life, okay? Unfortunately, you decided to cut Evelyn's life right then and there at 13 months. You monster. She's very cavalier about that. She's very cavalier about the way that she feels about Hunter, but then her actions say something different. She is all booed up. And in that picture that they took at the aquarium together, their body language tells a different story than the story that's coming out of Megan Boswell's mouth. Okay. Not only does he have his arm around her, but she has her arm around him. That's indicative of somebody you want to keep close. I mean, that's just what body language is. When you like somebody, you get in, you squeeze in close to them. It's just human nature. Um, I just, it's very, very interesting. And so to me, it's very difficult in my opinion, in my estimation, to tell exactly how she felt about Ethan. I do think that there's something to be said. It almost seems like Megan got pregnant with Evelyn to escape her home life, which is ironic in a way because um, if she didn't want to be the one responsible for raising her siblings, because she wanted to be a kid, which is totally, a normal feeling to have at 12, 15, 16, 17, right? I can't say I blame her. I probably would feel the same way. That's a normal feeling to have. Getting pregnant essentially means that you are going to be responsible for a tiny human for 25/8 for the for until entirely responsible until they're 18, but parenthood doesn't stop at 18. All parents of adults will tell you that. Does it get easier? It depends. It depends on the child. I think there are always challenges when you were raising a child, and even when I think it actually might in some ways be a little bit more difficult when they're an adult because you can advise them. You can tell them, "Hey, don't do this, that, or the third," or try to help them. But at the end of the day, legally, they're adults and can make their own decisions. And believe you me, the minute they turn 18, and I'm telling you, literally 1 second after their 18th birthday, they remind you constantly that they're an adult, which is another bit of a piece of irony because yes, you are an adult, but adults don't usually have to remind people that they're adults. You know what I'm saying? You just are an adult. You have adult responsibilities, you have adult obligations, and you make adult decisions. Um, so it's interesting. There was a picture, Harley, that was shown Saturday. Let me see if I can go back and find it really quick for you. Of Megan and Hunter when they took a trip to the aquarium while Evelyn was, she wasn't missing. That she was deceased. I mean, let's call it what it is. Here we go. Let me find it for you. No, it's before this. Here it is. It's this picture. This was taken in 2019. This is Megan and Hunter at the aquarium. So there you go. See how their live court is on a short break. There's nothing short about this break. What's happening? They're taking too long and it's driving me nuts. But I mean, you can see from their body language, there's no gap in between them. They're pulled in tight. Um, you know, it is what it is. She appears happy, although I have to say, once again, um, her hair doesn't look clean to me. And I mean, it's not a criticism. Okay. I mean, it's not my hair. I don't have to wear it. But it just seems like that's par for the course with Megan. She just doesn't seem clean. And it makes me, um, I don't know what changed. I don't think that Hunter is the explanation. I feel like we are missing a giant piece of the puzzle. And I actually think that it is possible, okay, that, oh, my ankle popped. Um, Hunter is that missing piece. And I don't mean the missing piece to the crime itself, okay? I would like to have Hunter on the stand because I would like to hear him under both direct examination and cross examination talk about what it was like being with Megan prior to him knowing, prior to Evelyn being reported missing. Now, I understand his inclination to distance himself from being with Megan and downplay their relationship. Um, in the news, in the media, right? I understand that. Like, I've seen guys not claim girls for much less. Okay, so like I get that, but what I would like to see or hear from him is what was actually going on. As much as we can. I just want to hear what he says so that and then see how it stands up under cross so that I can figure out which parts of the story he's telling are, the truth and which parts are not. And I feel like he's holding a piece of the puzzle, but there's another piece of there, but not the whole piece. Something changed in her, and I'm not exactly sure what that was, why it changed. Also, Ethan did downplay their relationship too. It's interesting though to think about it in those terms because okay, they met and had been together basically when Megan was a freshman in high school. Okay, and it's very different testifying to events that occurred when you were 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, looking back at 23, 24, 25. Do you know what I remember changing significantly between 18 and 21, but the biggest and most significant change that happened to me was between 21 and 25 and then again at 30. Um like just you just change. And so it's interesting because he is looking back on his youth. And I think because, like, even if I were to talk about things, or describe situations that occurred that might be embarrassing to me at 18, I probably would use distancing language as well. I kind of think that is, you know, just human nature. I mean, I changed at 18 because I had a child. I changed, then I had my first, I had my oldest son at 18. I had my second son at 19, and I had my oldest daughter at 21. But I'm talking about aside from that type of change, the way that I viewed the world, just, I matured and I changed. Um, when you have children, I feel like, well, when I had children, I stopped being selfish. When I was, before I had children, I was extremely vain and I was extremely selfish. Um, I, I, maybe selfish isn't the right word, because I wasn't. I think selfish implies like I wasn't generous or giving, and I was. I only had myself to worry about. I think that is like what I'm trying to say. I don't think that that's actually selfish. I think that I was responsible for me. And I did have a dog named Spanky. He was a Pekingese. So I was responsible for me, and I was responsible for Spanky, and that was it. Yeah, self-involved, self-absorbed. I just had myself to worry about. When I had my children, my needs, my wants were like last on the totem pole, if they ever even got, you know, about the only thing that I really, could do as far as self-care is um like a shower, and I could go to the but sometimes if you're in the middle of feeding a baby, and let me just say this, my oldest, bless his little heart, was not a good sleeper. In fact, he would do anything and everything he could to not sleep. And I've never seen this before. Now, I babysat, but not really newborns, obviously. So I remember him being he stayed in the NICU for like 6 weeks. 'Cause he was preemie. He weighed 2 pounds, 4 ounces. He was a itty bitty little thing. And when he was about 3 or 4 months old, I remember I would hold him where one of his little arms was kind of behind my back, and then his other arm rested on my chest, and then I would like wrap his little feet around me and yet hold him tight. But that child, even when I would swaddle him, he would manage to wiggle a hand out, and I'm not exaggerating or lying to y'all. He would would hit himself in the face to wake himself up. Like he would just, I don't want hit's probably a strong word, but like he would wiggle his hand out, and then he would put his hand on his face to like, hey, wake up, you're falling, you're drifting, you've fallen asleep, wake up. I will never forget when I told him at I believe he was 3, and I said, we're all going to it's time for a nap. You guys need to all lay down and take a nap. And I was getting them ready for their nap. And he looks at me directly in my eyes, right in my face, and says, I don't need a nap. I am nocturnal. And I said, well, then if you are nocturnal, you should be asleep right now. Overruled. Take a nap. But that was hard. And I remember he had colic too when he was little, when he was a newborn. And I would just beg him, please, for the love of Pete, I promise we're not going to have a party. There's not going to be any celebrating. There's no FOMO here. You're not going to miss out on anything. I really just want to take a shower. I haven't showered in like 3 days. Please, please go to sleep. He just was not a good sleeper, and we tried everything. Finally, after about 2 weeks of the colic that I didn't know was colic, because he didn't have it in the NICU, I finally was convinced that either he just flat out hated me or he had some weird exotic baby disease. So I took him to the emergency room, and that's when they said, it's gas. Use these drops. He'll be all right. So I did, and he was. But I was convinced he wasn't sleeping because he was born in November. And so when I brought him home on Christmas Eve. So this would be around January. And we had like an ice storm in Texas at that time. And I thought, okay, the coolness of the sheets is waking him up. So I would put a heating pad on the sheets while he was having his bottle, so that when I laid him down on the sheets would be warm, and therefore it would not wake him up. I mean, it's just little things like that. And then my second baby, my second son, was a good sleeper. But he was a finicky sleeper in that he didn't want to just sleep anywhere. He wanted to be in his crib. That's it. That's all. When he was ready for bed, he was ready for bed, and that's it. My oldest daughter, I don't know what they're doing, hold on a minute. Let me switch it over here to law and crime and see what's going on. My oldest daughter, when she was born, oh dear. Hold on a minute. Let me see. Let me scroll here. I think there's an issue with the cameras. Every channel is off. Let me make this smaller and watch the live chat and see what's going on. Let me just keep an eye on this. We may not be able to watch this. I'm going to be so mad if that's what it is. I didn't see them zooming in on any of the computers, but whatever. And my oldest daughter, she had what my mom used to call a bad back. She wanted to be held 25/8. And when she was born, y'all, she weighed 8 pounds, 10 ounces. Thank goodness for a C-section. Oh, good Lord. Thank goodness. Don't be scaring us like that. They're back. I think we're okay. Hold on. What am I doing? There's no video. Oh, there is. Okay, good. Here we go. Anyway, she weighed 8 pounds, 10 ounces, so you can imagine what that's like to be lugging around when they have a bad back. Now, my youngest daughter also had a bad back. She liked to be held all the time, too, but I had one of those little Kanga things. I carried her around in that thing everywhere. I did the laundry, the dishes, the vacuuming, all the things. So,
Prior to the time that Evelyn's body was recovered by law enforcement, had Tommy Boswell's property been searched?
Yes, there had been law enforcement on the property.
Okay. Was the playhouse searched prior to Evelyn's body being found?
No.
And can you tell us why?
We never had any reason to believe that would come into play, and I was aware that other law enforcement officers had been at the scene.
Okay. Anything that led you, and now I'm asking about the investigation in full, before and after Evelyn's body was found. Anything that led you to believe that her body had been moved to Tommy's property after the defendant had been moved to Tommy's property after law enforcement had already been there?
Oh, no.
Okay. 1 minute. Anything that led law enforcement to believe that Tommy Boswell was somehow involved in Evelyn's body being placed in that playhouse?
Objection, cause for speculation.
I can ask it in a different way.
Sustained.
Okay. Based upon your full investigation, did anything pursuant to your investigation lead you to believe that Tommy Boswell was involved?
No.
Did anything in your investigation lead you to believe that Tommy Boswell knew that Evelyn's body was in that playhouse?
No.
Okay. Ethan Perry. Did he fully cooperate with law enforcement?
Yes, Mr. Perry cooperated.
Was Ethan Perry fully investigated?
Yes, he was.
Was Ethan Perry eliminated as a suspect in this case?
Yes, Mr. Perry was eliminated.
Was law enforcement able to determine that the story Megan Boswell told law enforcement about Ethan having Evelyn was a lie? That's a lot of words. I mean,
Objection sustained in part, overruled in part.
I'm going to try to ask this in a different, less wordy way. Do you recall the story that the defendant gave you about Ethan Perry?
Yes, I recall that.
What did she tell you about Ethan Perry initially?
The defendant told us that Ethan Perry had Evelyn Boswell.
Okay. And again, when you're looking at your investigation as a whole from beginning until the end, were you able to determine whether or not what the defendant told you about Ethan was the truth?
Yes, we were able to determine whether that was true.
Okay, and what was your determination?
It was not true.
Okay. The defendant's boyfriend at the time, Hunter Wood, did he cooperate with law enforcement?
Yes.
Okay. Was Hunter Wood investigated?
Yes, he was investigated.
Was Hunter Wood eliminated as a suspect?
Yes, he was.
Anything at all that led you to believe that Hunter Wood was involved in Evelyn's death and or disappearance?
No.
Angela Boswell, the defendant's mom, and her boyfriend, Will McLeod, did they both cooperate with law enforcement?
Yes, both Angela Boswell and William McLeod cooperated.
Were they both investigated?
Yes, they were both investigated.
Were they eliminated as suspects?
Yes, both of them were eliminated.
Do you recall what Megan Boswell told you about Angela or Angel, her mom, at the beginning of the investigation?
At the very beginning, or
What did she tell you about her mom?
well, after a few days into the investigation, the defendant told us that Angela had Evelyn Boswell.
Okay. And based upon the entire investigation, were you able to determine whether or not that was the truth or not?
We were able to determine whether that was true. Yes.
Okay, and what was your determination?
That was not true.
Is there any individual that the investigation continued to point at?
There was one individual.
Okay, who was that?
It was the defendant.
Okay. Please answer any questions the defense has for you.
Morning, Mr. Gratz. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good.
Thank you.
I'm going to start kind of where Miss Massengill left off.
Okay.
She asked you if they're about clearing certain suspects.
Correct.
And she used the words and asking you about Hunter Wood, if there's anything at all about him that caused you all to disbelieve him as not being a suspect. In other words, y'all conclusively concluded he's not a suspect.
We did after we investigated him.
Okay. And as part of that investigation, I'm sure, did you collect his DNA?
No, I did not.
Matter of fact, he refused his DNA to law enforcement, didn't he?
I think at some point he did.
Okay. So his DNA cannot be compared with any of the DNA where the body was found.
That would be a question better answered by the lab personnel. As
You were the case agent. Do you know if it
Yeah.
was?
I'm sorry.
You were the case agent.
Yes, I was.
And as the case agent, you're basically in charge of the case. You give directives about what to do and so forth.
Maybe not quite that far, but I am the lead investigator for the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
And do you know if his DNA was processed against anything? If you know.
No.
You don't know, or it wasn't?
Oh, I'm sorry. It was not.
Okay. Did you obtain fingerprints from him?
I'm almost certain I collected his standard of fingerprints, yes.
Okay. And you say you're almost certain. Do you know for sure or not?
I think I collected them from the booking at the jail. When someone's booked into jail,
Okay, so
their fingerprint.
He'd been arrested for something before, is what you're saying?
Yes.
At the time of the investigation, were you aware that Mr. Woods was schizophrenic?
No.
Did you look into that at any point during this investigation, his mental health?
At a much later date.
Okay. And did you all investigate any connection between people with schizophrenia and people that tinfoil hats?
Ditka, I can't disagree. Nitka says the defense has brought their A game, and I can't disagree with that. I feel that they're asking the important questions. It is important to understand he has to create reasonable doubt in the job that the investigators did, and part of that means, did they collect his DNA? Was there a DNA sample to compare against? The answer to that was no, but there was but there were fingerprints that were already on file because he'd been from previous arrest. I know when we listened to the interview from the defense attorney from after Friday's session, he did
Gratz,
say
we were
he was
talking
going to
about
come
Hunter
back
Wood.
around to the
Yes.
dadgum
And you
foil.
indicated that sometime
Why are
later
we muted now?
You become aware that he was schizophrenic.
I knew
Shouldn't
he
be.
was having some mental health issues. I'm not sure that I knew the actual diagnosis, but I am aware of
And the thing is
issues.
even
Did
if
you
I rewind, we're
investigate
not going to be able to hear
his
this.
Health issues in relation to this case. And for
So you'll need
instance,
to
when
read
I'm
this
asking-
portion of the
first time I
testimony.
asked
Let
you
me be
about
quiet.
schizophrenia, you seemed to indicate that you knew that.
I
and-
knew he had some type of mental health issues, yes.
Did you investigate, give consideration to the possibility that the tinfoil could be related on the baby, could have been placed there by someone with mental health issues?
We did a significant investigation into the tinfoil, yes, and it underwent what I would call significant forensic analysis.
That was my bad. I inadvertently turned my own headphones down. That is all.
To
Sure.
to determine whether there is any type of DNA or fingerprints on that on the tinfoil.
Okay, but short of forensic analysis, did you all investigate, is there something that might make someone place tinfoil on a child. Like, for instance, people with schizophrenia are known to wear tinfoil hats.
Your Honor,
I think we covered it.
It's me. It was me, y'all. It's me. I'm the problem. It was me. I turned my headphones down inadvertently and didn't realize that. I probably should have checked that first before saying anything. I mean, I would have appreciated Nitka Ditka if she would have allowed the question to be asked in full, and then object to it. I don't think that Megan could have given Hunter schizophrenia. What her dad testified to is that Hunter kind of always had some potential mental health issues. But after all of this, I think that that's when it really became an issue, and they had to admit him. He's been in a mental health hospital for 2 months. That's a very, very long time. And I will say this: the if Hunter has insurance, okay, insurance will only pay but for so many days. I mean, that's just facts. And the daily price for a person to stay as a self-pay in a mental health hospital is astronomical. I mean, we're talking like it's a lot of money. It's not cheap. And I don't think that any of the doctors that are taking care of Hunter, that are in charge of his diagnosis and treatment plan, would risk their licenses to lie.
Objection sustained in part, overruled in part.
Agent Gratz, did you investigate any connection between mental health and whoever placed the tinfoil on this child?
I'm not aware of any theories of like mental health issues is concerned with tinfoil, so nothing specific like that was ever investigated. Does that answer your question?
To your knowledge, did anyone in your prosecution team do that?
As far as mental health issues and tinfoil hats?
Yes.
Not that I'm aware of. No.
So going back to Hunter Woods, you said he declined to give you his DNA.
Not me. I don't remember ever having many face-to-face interactions with Mr. Wood, and I don't recall that it was me that asked for
But
it.
he did decline to give it to law enforcement.
I believe so at some point.
So that wouldn't be 100% cooperative with the investigation, would it?
I guess it depends on how you look at it. I think that could be answered as a yes or no.
To answer you, where did that comment go? Call me Sadie. I'm all right. This is just more examples of the professionalism that you'll get only over here at the ward, I guess is the best way to put it. Let's see. I was going to answer something else. I think what the dad is testifying to is that being referred to or accused of killing a child likely exacerbated an already existing mental health issue. I think that I think his dad is likely equating the two, probably because it came around the same time. And that's like a normal human reaction. But schizophrenia isn't brought on, like you can't get schizophrenia because you're stressed or you're traumatized. It's something that's already existing. Trauma and stress can exacerbate an already existing mental health issue. And I think that that's the most likely reasonable explanation for that. I just, I would say if he declined to give his DNA, that he cooperated 99.9% of the way. That's how I would answer that question. Whereas conversely, Megan cooperated 0.0000%. All right, let's keep going. Correct, Gretchen. They're correlated, but it's not causation. That's a good way to put it. Thank you. I apologize again for my Miss America answers when you guys in the chat. Maybe I should limit myself to
Go back to
150
the
characters in my
investigation
answers.
at the
That might
Boswell
help.
property.
Okay.
And as the case agent, I assume you're aware of what searches were conducted when and the results thereof.
Generally speaking, there are a lot of moving parts, and in an investigation this large with this many agencies involved, I did my best to really maintain a clear chain of information and make sure everything that was happening was being documented on paper, memorialized in some type of form, and brought back to me or to someone who would later bring it to me to put it in a file.
And Tommy Boswell's property was searched on February 23rd, is that correct?
With that specific date, I would have to go back and look.
Do you have something that would refresh your memory as to that? Do you have notes?
In the case file, yes.
Is that something you could easily access?
Relatively, it might take a moment to look through.
Judge, I'd ask to refresh his memory with his notes.
You want me to?
Can he sit down to get those?
Can you give me that date one more time, please?
February 23rd.
Thank you.
Oh. I guess he's not on the microphone, but I would ask for any other date it was searched as well.
That'll just help.
Okay.
Jenna, have him do that somewhere other than right in front of you.
Scratch, have you had a chance to review your notes, refresh your memory?
Yes, I did.
Was a search conducted of Tommy Boswell's property on February the 23rd?
Yes, it appeared that after looking at my notes that Mr. Boswell Sr. had given written consent and permission for law enforcement to search his property.
And do you recall who searched the property?
Yes, there were a team, or was a team there. There were members of the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office present, as well as at least one member, or I suppose two, of the Union County Sheriff's Office. And that would be Union County, Tennessee.
And a cadaver dog searched the property that day and provided no hits, is that correct?
That, according to the report.
Would the report would be correct to the best of your knowledge?
I would have to defer to the officer that conducted that to those that were present.
Is your report, Ms. Gratz, IR 115, author is David Gratz. You agree with me about that?
Yes, correct.
So you would have recorded the information you were provided by the team, whether or not the dog hit, correct?
My report essentially reflects that there was another report issued. So the other report was issued by the Union County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, I want to touch on the situation with the dogs. Okay, there's been a lot made by the defense attorneys about this cadaver dog search and the lack of a hit. What I'd like to point out is that while cadaver dogs in general, are an excellent resource for law enforcement, they are not infallible. We know from the investigation into Madeline Soto's murder that cadaver dogs were taken around a vehicle we know that Madeline was in when she was deceased, and they didn't hit. So a lot of it has to do with the dog themselves. Dogs can have an off day, number one. Number two, the reliability of a dog is very, very dependent on the dog handler themselves. For example, I don't know how many of you guys, I know several of you did, but if you're not aware, there were dogs used during the Chris Watts case. And one of the dog handlers, specifically Jane, was shown through body-worn camera footage. She was accompanied by an officer while she took this dog around the house. There were moments, in most people's opinion, that it looked like the dog was trying to hit around some porta potties that were near, like, the neighborhood was under construction. It was a new neighborhood and they were building homes. So there was a porta potty and it looked like the dog was trying to hit, but Jane didn't record that as a hit. So it's not just the dogs. Okay. The dogs are, they do what they do, but it's up to the handler to make the determination whether or not the dog hits. And not all dog handlers are the same. So whenever there is a human being involved, there's the margin for human error. So I don't think that, like the defense is trying to attempt to suggest here, that Evelyn's body wasn't there when the cadaver dog did the hit. Or excuse me, let me correct that. I don't believe what the defense is trying to sell, which is that when the cadaver dogs were brought in to search the Boswell property, I don't believe that Evelyn's body was not in that trash can at that time. That's what I'm trying to say.
On February 21st was a search done of the Boswell Trailer Park on, I believe it's Sugar Hollow Road.
Yes, I believe a team had gone out there.
And were cadaver dogs taken that day?
I know they were taken at some point. The specific day, I'm just not sure.
You don't remember?
No, I don't. I do know they were taken out there.
Would your report from that day refresh your memory?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Melinda, for becoming a member. I appreciate that very much. Thank you for supporting me and the channel. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I agree that if a dog partially hits, it should be investigated, but the thing
Ms.
about
Gratz,
that is,
report indicates
on.
that
it is up to the dog handler, right? Whether the dog handler is the one that says that determines whether the dog making a hit or not. So if the dog handler doesn't recognize